Have you ever walked into a store late at night, when the aisles feel too quiet, and the shadows seem to watch you? Those flickering fluorescent lights, the hum of a distant cooler, the sense you're not alone. It's not just your imagination. Retail stores, places we visit every day, hide secrets that crawl under your skin. Tonight, I'm sharing 6 true retail horror stories that'll keep you up all night. These aren't just creepy tales. They're real accounts, whispered by workers and shoppers, about moments that turn ordinary stores into nightmares. You'll never look at a checkout counter the same way again. So, settle in, dim the lights, and let's dive into the first chilling tale. But fair warning, these stories might make you rethink that late-night grocery run. What happens when the doors lock behind you, and the store itself seems to wake up? Let's find out. Our first story begins in a small-town dollar store, tucked away in rural Ohio, 2017. It was called Bargain Bin, a place where locals grabbed cheap snacks and discount toys. Clara, night shift cashier, always felt uneasy closing alone. The store was old, its walls stained, and the air carried a faint, sour smell no one could trace. One night, Clara noticed a toy, a plastic clown doll with a chipped smile, sitting on the counter. She hadn't rung it up. No customers had been in for hours. She tossed it back on the shelf, thinking some kid left it behind. But the next night, it was there again on the counter, staring up at her. Clara checked the cameras. Nothing. No one had touched it. Her heart raced, but she laughed it off, shoving it into a storage bin. The third night, she locked up early, desperate to leave. As she turned off the lights, a faint giggle echoed from the aisles. Not a child's laugh. Something sharp, unnatural. She froze, keys shaking in her hand. The giggle came again, closer, from the toy aisle. Clara didn't look back. She ran, never returning to Bargain Bin. Locals later swore they saw that clown doll in the window, even after the store shut down for good. What was it about that toy that refused to stay put? And why did it seem to follow Clara? That's a question we'll revisit. But for now, hold that chill in your chest, because the next story is even stranger. 24-hour convenience store in Nevada, 2019, glowing like a beacon on a desert highway. Jake, a college kid working graveyard shifts, loved the quiet. He'd restock shelves, sip coffee, and chat with truckers. But one night, a customer walked in, wearing a heavy coat despite the summer heat. His face was pale, eyes sunken, and he didn't speak. Jake rang up his soda, but the man just stared, unblinking, before leaving. The next night, he was back, same coat, same silence. Jake noticed something odd. The man's shadow didn't move right. It lagged, almost like it was stuck to the floor. Jake told his boss, who shrugged it off, probably just a drifter. But the man kept coming, every night, always at 3 a.m. One shift, Jake followed him outside, curious. The man walked into the dark, past the parking lot, and vanished. No car, no footsteps, nothing. Jake checked the security footage. The man never appeared on it. Not once. Yet Jake saw him every night for a month, always silent, always watching. Then one night, he didn't show. Relieved, Jake thought it was over, until he found a crumpled coat on the storeroom floor, empty, but warm to the touch. Was it just a trick of the desert heat, or something that didn't belong in this world? That mystery lingers, but it's not the only one. Let's step into a bigger store now, where the horror wasn't just one figure, but something woven into the walls. In 2021, a superstore in Michigan became a local legend for all the wrong reasons. It was a massive retail chain, the kind with endless aisles and a constant buzz of shoppers. Emily, a new employee, noticed something off during her first week. The back room, where stock was kept, felt wrong. The air was heavy, like breathing through a wet cloth. Co-workers whispered about the hum, a low, pulsing sound that seemed to come from nowhere. Emily heard it too late at night, when the store was nearly empty. It wasn't the freezers or the vents. It was deeper, almost alive. One evening, she was tasked with organizing the back room alone. The hum grew louder, vibrating in her chest. Then, a box fell from a high shelf, splitting open. Inside wasn't merchandise, just old photos, dozens of them, showing people who looked like past employees. Their eyes were scratched out, Emily's stomach dropped. She told her manager, who brushed it off, saying it was probably a prank. But the next night, the hum was louder and more boxes fell, spilling more photos. Emily recognized one face, a cashier who quit weeks earlier, saying she felt watched. The store's records showed no one else had seen her leave that final shift. Emily started noticing things after that, lights flickering when she walked by, her name whispered in empty aisles. She quit soon after, but locals say the hum never stopped. Some claim those photos are still there, hidden in the back room, waiting for the next worker to find them. What was that hum, and why did it seem to know Emily's name? That a puzzle we'll circle back to. But if that tale chilled you, the next ones will linger even longer. The shadows in these stores don't just watch, they move and they remember. From haunted department stores to cursed cash registers and mysterious customers who seem to come from another world, these tales will leave you questioning what's real and what's just a figment of your imagination. So, grab your favorite blanket, dim the lights, and let's dive back into the world of retail horror. Let's step into one of America's most iconic department stores, Marshall Field's in Chicago. Built in 1897, this grand building has seen generations of shoppers pass through its doors. But beneath its beautiful architecture and luxurious displays lies a dark secret. The land on which it stands was once Lake Cemetery, where thousands of Chicago's poor were buried. When the store was constructed, many graves were disturbed, or worse, left intact beneath its foundation. The air inside Marshall Field's is thick with history. Old creaks underfoot, polished marble reflects faint light, and chandeliers cast long shadows across towering ceilings. At night, when silence falls over its vast floors, workers say it feels alive in a way that's both fascinating and terrifying. Sarah, a night security guard, knows this feeling all too well. One quiet night, as she patrolled the second floor, she noticed a woman standing by the escalators. Dressed in a vintage gown from the early 1900s, her face was pale and her eyes hollow. Sarah approached, asking if she needed help. But as she got closer, the woman turned and smiled, a smile so cold it sent shivers down Sarah's spine. Then, in an instant, she vanished into thin air. Sarah sprinted to the security office to check the cameras, but there was no sign of the woman on any footage. Other workers have reported strange occurrences too. In the toy department, employees have heard children's laughter long after closing time, though no one is there. In the women's clothing section, dresses have been seen swaying on their own, as if someone invisible is trying them on. And in the basement storage rooms, there's a constant feeling of being watched, paired with sudden drops in temperature. Then there's Mike, a new employee in the electronics department. On his first day, while taking a break in the employee lounge, he found an old photograph tucked inside a drawer. It showed workers posing during the store's construction, but among them was a man who looked exactly like Mike. Same face, same build, but wearing modern clothes that didn't match the era. When he showed it to his manager, she turned pale and told him to put it back and never speak of it again. That night, Mike had a nightmare where he was buried alive, dirt filling his mouth and nose. He woke up screaming, with actual dirt under his fingernails. He quit the next day and never returned. Sarah couldn't let it go either. She spent her nights researching the store's history and discovered records confirming that many graves were indeed left undisturbed when Marshall Field's was built. One night, she brought a paranormal investigator friend to explore after hours. As they set up their equipment, they heard footsteps echoing from upstairs. Following them to the children's apartment, they saw a little girl in a white dress playing with a doll. When they called out to her, she looked up with completely black eyes and said, "You shouldn't be here." Then she vanished, and a cold wind swept through the room, knocking over displays. They fled immediately and never returned. What is it about Marshall Field that attracts these spirits? Is it the disturbed graves or something deeper? For those who work there, every shift is a reminder that some stores never truly close. Not all retail horror involves ghosts. Sometimes it's the customers themselves who are terrifying. Lisa, who worked at a high-end boutique, once served a woman dressed entirely in black with a veil covering her face. She didn't speak, just pointed to dresses she wanted to try on. Lisa noticed her hands were unnaturally cold, almost like ice. After trying on several dresses, the woman left without buying anything. But later that night, Lisa found one of those dresses laid out on her bed at home, with a note. "This one suits you better." Lisa never saw her again, but couldn't shake how she'd gotten into her apartment. Now let's head to a small town in Maine, where a family-owned general store has stood for over a century. It's a place where everyone knows your name, and where the cash register seems to know more than it should. The store is a relic of a bygone era. Creaky wooden floors, shelves stocked with canned goods and fishing gear, and an antique national cash register from the 1920s sitting proudly on the counter. Old Joe has run it since his father passed it down to him, and before that, his grandfather. It's a family tradition, but one with mysteries. Lately, things have been strange. The cash register rings up sales at random times, even when no one is near it. The amount are always specific. $1.29, $3.15, $7.77. Dates corresponding to tragic events in town history. Fires, accidents, even vanishings. When Joe's granddaughter Emily started helping out during summer break, she took over operating the register, and that's when things got weirder. Emily began having vivid nightmares about past owners dying under mysterious circumstances. In her dreams, they whispered about a curse placed on the store by a scorned woman. Driven by curiosity and fear, Emily searched for answers. In the attic above the store, she found William's diary, the original owner. It confessed his affair with Eliza, accused of witchcraft. When William ended their relationship to marry another, Eliza cursed him in his store, vowing misfortune for all who owned it. She left behind a silver locket as its vessel. Emily scoured the store for that locket. Finally, she found it hidden inside the register's secret compartment. As she held it, a wave of cold washed over her, and the register rang frantically. Opening it, she found a lock of hair and a symbol on paper. She knew she had to destroy it. Outside, she smashed it with a hammer. A gust of wind swept through the store, knocking over displays. Inside, the register fell silent. That night, Emily slept soundly for the first time in weeks. The next morning, it rang up one final sale, $0, with freedom printed on the receipt. From then on, it behaved normally. Emily didn't stop there. She learned Eliza had been buried near the store in an unmarked grave. She organized a small ceremony to honor her memory, placing flowers on what she believed was Eliza's resting place. From that day on, no strange occurrences were reported. The curse was truly broken. Curses aren't always tied to stores. Sometimes customers bring them in. At a New York bookstore, Alex found a strange book left on the counter. No title, bound in warm leather. Its blank pages filled with words predicting future events. As he stared at them, he tried to discard it, but it always returned. Finally, he burned it, but not before it whispered, "You can't escape your fate." Our final tale takes us to a 24-hour convenience store on Las Vegas's outskirts, where neon lights never dim but darkness always lurks nearby. Tommy, a college student working night shifts for extra cash, thought it would be easy. Stock shelves, clean up, deal with occasional oddball customers. But one customer stood out. A man who only appeared at exactly midnight. Every night at 12 a.m., like clockwork, he'd enter, tall, wearing a long black coat and wide-brimmed hat, casting his face in shadow. He never bought anything, just walked up to Tommy and asked, "Is it time yet?" Tommy would shake his head, unsure what he meant, and the man would leave without another word. At first, Tommy thought it was a prank or eccentricity, but then he noticed oddities. No reflection in security mirrors, no trace on cameras despite Tommy seeing him clearly. His voice had a deep resonance that vibrated in Tommy's chest. One night, Tommy followed him outside. The man walked into the desert behind the store and turned to face Tommy before dissolving into thin air like smoke. Shaken, Tommy returned to find a note on the counter. "The end is near. Be ready." The handwriting was old-fashioned, almost calligraphic, and smelled faintly of earth. Research revealed the land was once owned by a doomsday cult in the 1970s. They believed midnight on December 21st, 2025, would bring an apocalypse. Only those ready would survive. When that date passed without incident, some members vanished into the desert, As December 21st approached, Tommy grew anxious. That night at midnight, the man returned. But this time he smiled coldly and said, "It's time." A blinding light filled the store. Tommy felt lifted off his feet. When he could see again, he was alone. The clock read 12:01 a.m. The man was gone. Security footage showed nothing. No man, no light. Co-workers hadn't seen him either. Was it a hallucination? Or something supernatural only Tommy witnessed? He never found out, but quit soon after, haunted by a feeling he'd been spared, or marked for something worse. Tommy's dreams grew stranger too, visions of himself as part of that cult, chanting in unknown languages at midnight. One morning, he woke to find a symbol on his hand, the same from the note. He washed it off but couldn't shake its meaning. Some mysteries are better left unsolved. Sometimes customers seem out of place entirely. Jamie, working at a vintage clothing store, served a man with an old-fashioned accent who paid with coins no longer in circulation. When Jamie tried to return them, he'd vanished, leaving only a faint smell of lavender and tobacco. Now a night security guard at the sprawling mall in 2023. It's his first shift, and already the air feels wrong. Too heavy, too still. The lights flicker in patterns that don't make sense, and whispers echo from locked stores. Tommy's about to learn that the Mall of Shadows is no ordinary place. Each shop is a gateway to something otherworldly, and tonight, he's walking right into their domain. Settle in, dim the lights, and let's uncover the horrors waiting in these stores. But be warned, you might never shop the same way again. Tommy's flashlight cuts through the dim corridor as he approaches Elegance and Grace, a high-end clothing boutique that gleams with polished displays. The mannequins in the window catch his eye. One in particular, dressed in a sleek black gown, seems to stare right at him. He blinks, telling himself it's just a late hour playing tricks. But when he looks again, the mannequin's head is tilted, as if tracking his every step. His stomach twists, but curiosity pulls him closer. He pushes open the door, the bell jingling softly, almost mockingly. Inside, racks of designer clothes line the walls, and jewelry sparkles under soft lights. The mannequins stand frozen, their blank faces unervingly lifelike. Tommy walks deeper, his boots echoing on the marble floor. A faint rustle stops him cold, like fabric brushing against itself. He spins around, but the store is empty. Or is it? A mannequin's arm, once raised, now hangs limp. His heart pounds. These things can't move. Can they? Then another shifts, its head turning with a faint creak. Before he can process it, all the mannequins jerk to life, their plastic joints snapping as they step off their stands. Tommy stumbles back, his flashlight shaking. Their faces twist into grotesque smiles, eyes hollow but alive with malice. He trips over a display, crashing to the floor, and sees her, a woman, trapped in a glass case, dressed in the store's finest gown. Her eyes are wide, frozen in terror, her mouth open in a silent scream. She's no mannequin, but she's not moving either. Tommy realizes she must have been a customer, one who crossed the wrong line. Maybe she was rude, maybe she stole. Whatever she did, the mannequins claimed her. They close in now, their cold hands reaching for him. Panic surges, and Tommy scrambles to his feet, grabbing a coat rack and swinging it wildly. It connects, knocking the mannequin's head clean off, but more keep coming. He spots an emergency exit and sprints for it, their fingers grazing his jacket as he bursts through the door. He slams it shut, the bells jingle, fading into silence. Outside, he leans against the wall, gasping. What were those things? And why did they want him? The woman in the case haunts his thoughts, but there's no time to dwell. More stores await, and the night is far from over. Sometimes it's not the store itself, but what customers leave behind. At a thrift shop in the mall, a worker named Mia found a velvet dress donated with a strange note pinned to it. Wear me and you'll see. Curious, she tried it on after closing. Instantly, her reflection in the mirror changed. She saw herself, but older, with hollow eyes and a twisted smile. She tore it off. But the next night, the dress was back on the rack, waiting. Tommy's next stop is Arcane Pages, a bookstore that radiates an eerie glow even with its lights off. The sign above the door reads, Enter if you dare to know the unknown. He hesitates, still shaken from elegance and grace, but his job demands he check every store. He steps inside, and the air hits him like a wave, thick with the scent of old paper, ink, and something musty, like decay. Shelves tower to the ceiling, packed with books that look ancient, some bound in leather, others in materials that make his skin crawl. As he walks the aisles, a faint whisper brushes his ear, too soft to make out. He freezes, scanning the shadows. The books are moving, pages fluttering as if caught in a breeze that doesn't exist. He reaches for one, its cover etched with strange symbols, and opens it. The words shift before his eyes, forming a message. You shouldn't be here. His hand jerks back, dropping the book. The whispers grow louder, a chorus of voices from every shelf, murmuring secrets he can't understand. Help us. One says clearly, chilling his blood. He backs away, but the books fly off the shelves, swirling around him in a storm of paper and ink. They slice at his arms, leaving thin, stinging cuts. From the back of the store, a figure emerges, a tall, gaunt man with eyes like burning coals, dressed in a tattered robe. Welcome to Arcane Pages, he rasps, his voice grinding like stone. But you've read too much. He raises a hand, and the books freeze in midair, their whispers silent. Tommy's heart races. Is this man the store's keeper, or something worse? He doesn't wait to find out. He charges through the swirling books, their edges cutting deeper, and dives to the door. It gives way like mist, and he tumbles into the corridor, the door slamming shut behind him. The whispers fade, but one lingers in his mind. You can't escape the story. What did that mean? Were those books alive, or were they prisons or something else? Tommy's not sure he wants to know, but the mall isn't done with him yet. Not every horror comes from the stores themselves. At a mall coffee shop, barista Jake found a loyalty card left on a table, its name scratched out. Each time he tried to throw it away, it reappeared in his pocket. One night, he used it to make a free coffee and saw a shadowy figure in the steam, whispering his name. He quit the next day. Tommy's final stop is Wonderland Toys, a store that seems too bright, too cheerful for the dead of night. As he nears, he hears laughter, children's laughter, but it's sharp, almost cruel. Through the window, he sees toys moving on their own, dolls twirling, teddy bears wrestling, action figures clashing like soldiers. In the center, ghostly children flicker, their forms translucent, their eyes empty. Tommy recalls a story from his training. A bus crashed near the mall in 1998, killing a group of kids on a field trip. Are these their spirits trapped here? He steps inside, hoping to help them find peace. The air grows cold, and the toys turn on him, their eyes glowing red. A teddy bear lumbers forward, its claws glinting. Tommy dodges, weaving through aisles as dolls giggle and action figures leap from shelves. He reaches a door marked Employees Only, and bursts into a storage room filled with broken toys and faded photos. One photo shows the children from the crash, smiling before their tragic end. The door slams shut, plunging him into darkness. The laughter surrounds him, and something grabs his leg, pulling hard. He kicks out, hitting something soft, and hears a growl. The lights flicker on, revealing the teddy bear, its stuffing spilling out. The ghostly children are gone, the toys still. Tommy staggers out, his heart pounding. Did he imagine it, or did those spirits want to join them? The mall feels quieter now, but no less menacing. Some horrors linger in small details. At a mall electronics store, cashier Lily noticed a phone that kept turning on by itself, displaying a photo of a family no one recognized. Each night, the photo changed, showing a family closer to camera, their faces more desperate. She smashed the phone, but it was back the next day, undamaged. Tommy stumbles back to the security office, his mind a whirlwind. He passes a janitor mopping the floor, who looks up with a knowing smile. Rough first night, huh? It gets easier. Tommy shakes his head, incredulous. Easier? How do you stand it? The janitor chuckles. This mall's been here forever. Those things in the stores? They're part of it. Respect them and you'll be fine. Tommy frowns. Respect them? They tried to trap me. The janitor's smile fades. They're guarding something old, something powerful. Maybe it's the mall itself. Just don't dig too deep, kid. Tommy slumps into a chair, staring at the security monitors. The stores look peaceful now, but he knows better. The Mall of Shadows is alive, its stores pulsing with secrets he's only begun to uncover. Will he survive his next shift, or become another story whispered in these halls? That's for another night. For now, next time you're in a mall, watch the shadows. Something might be watching you back. If you got your own retail horror story, share it in the comments. Maybe there's more to this mall than even we know.